Yeah, and I hope you don't mind. I'm going to occasionally refer to my notes because I have a brain like a sieve, and also one of my private perversions is that I like to pretend to be a Labour Party backbencher from time to time. So. And just to justify my presence a little bit more, I did maintain a very occasionally updated political blog. I had a sort of a watershed moment recently when I was writing a post about the composer Charles Alcan and what his work meant for the relationship between materialism and the concept of the sublime. And I was about halfway through it and I realised nobody else gives a fuck about this. It's probably an epiphany I should have had a long time ago. But anyway, I was going to start with a particular clip from Dole TV, but since Felina was talking about Fair City, yesterday on the show we're going to broadcast next week, we had Terry McMahon, who used to write for Fair City, and he's releasing a film called Charlie Casanova, which is about an upper-class sociopath. And he actually spoke about Fair City and the representation of the working class in Irish drama, so I think it'd be more relevant just to play this. If you have the lights. Yeah, just out of convenience, I'll probably play the first clip I have lined up, which is a sketch I wrote about the fiscal treaty. Has anyone seen it? Yeah. I suspect some of you may. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I should point out.
Hi.
Sorry. I should point out. There's some unparliamentary language in this, so any adherents of bourgeois morality cover their ears probably. Okay.
Hi. I have a non-threatening regional accent. On May 31st, the government will ask you to vote. This impartial video has been produced to help you make an informed decision. What the fuck is your problem? Do you know what's going to happen if you vote no? Have you ever seen Mad Max, have you? Have you ever been to Longford? Do you want to get kicked out of the EU? Is that what you're at? Do you want to go back to being a black speck of TB on the lungs of Europe? Because that'll be the end of it, boy. No more Aldi, no more Lidl, no more Papa, no more Nicole. And that suave fucker from the Kerrygo lads, he'll be out the door like someone's pissed in his butter. Paedophile priests and Aaron sweaters drinking cuddle out of your potholes till the end of your days. And I'm not exaggerating. There'll be AIDS pouring out of the ATMs if you bog brains vote against this.
So, as you've probably seen from that clip, what we do on Dole TV is essentially, in a very limited, and we have to be quite modest about it because our audience is naturally limited by the medium of community television. It's a form of counter-propaganda. And I'm fairly proud of our tendentious approach to satire, because there's one thing I hate, and I think is contemptible and cowardly, is even-handed satire. I think it should have the courage of its convictions rather than attempting to strike some sort of fatuous balance. And I think this goes to the heart of the question of class in the Marxian sense and contemporary Irish culture, because the reason mainstream satire in Ireland takes that approach is that is to sort of engender a generalised disenchantment with the political process, to portray it as futile. The entire project of the Irish establishment and ruling class since the foundation of the state has been to obfuscate class relations and class power. And the act of defanging politics through satire, which depicts all interventions in the political process being equally self-interested and cynical, is part of that process, I think. You're allowed to poke fun at Fine Gael's reactionary policies, at Labour's spinelessness, at Fianna Fáil's venality, at some extent at the ECB and the Troika, but you have to balance that out then by also attacking the public sector and attacking the concept of protest and dissidence and resistance. And ultimately, use of archetypes and stereotypes. And in fact, something extraordinary is that these are so entrenched in televised fiction in Ireland that they actually take on a physiognomical form. There's a particular facial expression even with which working class characters are always depicted. It's sort of a look of aggressive befuddlement with the muscles of the forehead full taut. If you look out for it, you'll see it everywhere. It's as though, you know, there's somewhere in the back of a chipper in Cabra, there's a secret Botox clinic. But this is all quite personal to me because I come from a community in Ballymun which has been subjected to probably more drive-by psychoanalysis than anywhere else in Dublin, but by well-meaning middle-class liberals for the most part. But what's always missing from these analyses is precisely the economic dimension. The concept of class as a set of economic relations, which is totally taboo in this country. That's why even likes of Fintan O'Toole, who issued quite a strong and quite an effective critique of Irish theatre, not dealing with the issues raised by the crisis, but even his columns tie themselves in knots in their attempts to explain the apparently irrational social and political behaviours of the Irish people, because the actual economic basis for those behaviours is, and that sense of alienation, is totally off limits, and that taboo informs our fiction also. That's pretty much all I wanted to get off my chest. I do have another clip from Dole TV about Nana, which is more educational probably than agitational, but which was produced in collaboration with Conor McCabe. And it was an attempt to sweep away this curtain I've been talking about, this veil that obscures the class basis of Irish society and the